This is the XRP one-year overview reading for the year of 2025. It's currently December 14th, 2024, 9:17 p.m. Eastern Time. XRP at the time of this reading, $2.43, or just over $2.43 USD. So close to all-time highs, like so close. The shuffle video for the XRP 2025 reading was created on October 3rd, 2024, 5:51 p.m. Eastern Time. So the overall theme and behavior for the year of 2025, we have an unexpected move higher. The star card, often it's like a move out of a scary situation, but not always. Sometimes it's just like this big move out of nowhere, this probable move higher. It's crossed with an overbought crest on a multi-year scale that we should sell off from through multiple support levels at least once. I should say on a one-year chart scale. And with that said, basically everything here that I talk about when I say big move higher or support level, that's all going to be on the scale of a one-year chart unless otherwise specified. The behavior around the highest high for the year, we have a rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a fast move higher and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down out of the high. Behavior around the lowest low for the year, we have sideways rotation along key support and then we have a big move higher and then sideways rotation at a higher support level. Now I'm going to get into the week by week chart behavior, as well as giving you one of the best trades that I see for the year of 2025. But before we do that, let's take a look at 2024 and see how we did. Wow, it's such a big move compared to the rest of the year. It's like nuts. So we had a lowest low thus far in February, lowest low in March, ended up being like the very beginning of April. You also sometimes need to give the timing plus or minus 2 weeks of wiggle room. It's a sequence of events. People always hear me saying this. It's a sequence of events that's as outlined by the prediction. That's the most important aspect to follow. So in most cases, the timing's right on point, but there will be cases where you need to give a plus or minus 2 weeks of wiggle room. And then we go into a highest high thus far, not quite, but I have a lowest low somewhere here between July and August, a lowest low period for the year between July and August. So I've nailed that. And then we've got highest highs for the year here at the end of the year as well. Yeah, so just to be clear, guys, because it's still December, based on the 1 year, the fact that we've got this, I'm trying to make it a better scale so you guys can see it, but it's just so, the move at the end of the year was just so outrageous compared to everything else for the year looks flat now. You're so antsy, Hermes. So there's a decline, right, from in December. There should be a decline into the low that offers opportunity to open up along. But what's interesting is there's also a decline out of the high for December that offers an opportunity to open up a long position. So that's very, very bullish, more bullish than the decline in the low position offering, because that's a lot more natural. But to see it in the high significator position for December is really saying something. So based on that, we have this sideways fluctuating decline near the high precedes a significant rally. It should be like a rally at least on a 1 year chart scale. So in January, we have a significant move. This is one of the biggest moves of 2025. It's really going to stand out, and we should push the upper end of a range higher here. There's a breakout out of the January low. My sense is that this right here in January is going to be like an all-time high, at least thus far. It's an all-time high, guys. There's a prominent peak on a 1 year chart scale in early January. There's a prominent peak on a 1 year chart scale in late January. We have a prominent trough on a 1 year chart scale within close proximity to the January high. So there's like a big swing. There's like a big move higher, drop down, and then like a drop down afterwards. We also have like a month's low towards the second half, maybe even right on the cusp of January, February. The later part of January, we should see significant moves to the downside. And then in February, we have a resistance level that's highlighted. There's something really, really tricky going on there in early February. It may have to do with the news or some sort of legality. There might be like some laws or something being like put together, and I don't mean in like a limiting, like a difficult kind of way, but there's something going on in the news there. There's a leader involved, a male leader, and we should decline from resistance in early February and then return to that resistance in February, and if not in February, then probably in early, or at least in March, but probably in February. And right at the beginning, the first week of February, there's a lot of tricky stuff going on. I'm advised not to chase the trend, and I say the trend because it's really difficult to determine which way we're going to be going in early January. It's like early February. There's two fake outs there, so be very, very mindful of that. We have an unexpected move to the upside there, and then we have an overbought crest that we sell off from through multiple supports into a prominent trough on a 1 year chart scale as the February low. It's the Magus card indicating a significant opportunity at the February low. We rally into key resistance in the later part of February, but after meeting that resistance, we decline with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down, back into a trough. And it looks like there's a pop and drop into the February high, which may actually be towards the very end of February. Let's see. The last week of February, there's probably a February high there, and then on the cusp February and March, we come back into a significant trough. It doesn't look like it's going to be quite as low as the trough on the cusp of January, February. And I get into all of that relative price levels in relation to each other in more detail when we get into the total access version of this video. And I'll show you guys how to get the total access version of this video at the end of the video. Near the February high, we have a period of volatility that ends with a fast sudden move higher, like a pop and drop there. And then we have sideways fluidity in early March, equal amounts of bulls and bear, inflow and outflow. We attempt to establish support there. There's a lot of volatility and a lot of price change around the March high, which should be towards the later part of March. There's also a significant trough on the 1-year chart scale in the later part of March, so probably within close time proximity to the high. We have a bearish price swings and or a sharp drop taking us into the March low, and again, a lot of volatility in the later part of March with a sharp drop that'll stand out in that period of volatility. Usually we'll revisit an opportunity when we see the queen period, and it looks like we probably have a sharp drop from a March high into a March low on the cusp of March, April. Significant trough, yeah, right on the cusp of March, April. There's also somebody speaking there, and what they're speaking on, it should not be relied upon or trusted. There's a prominent trough in early April and sideways rotation along that trough, followed by a big move to the upside into a key resistance on at least the 1-year chart scale. It may be on multi-year scale, the April high key resistance, with an unexpected move into it, and then again an overbought crest that will sell off through multiple supports out of the April high. There's price swings, significant price swings in the later part of April, and sideways rotation near the April low, which most likely is going to be the early part of April. A lot of price change into a peak in the early part of May, a lot of price change and an important support level, at least on a 1-year chart scale, that we rotate sideways along, and that price change is involved with that support. The May low, the Queen of Cups indicating that we most likely are going to see two lows. The second one might be lower than the first, but we should see two lows, at least the same price level for May lows. The May high, we have bumping along resistance sideways, probably breaking through at some point and bumping along resistance some more. But there's a lot of price change into that May high. And then in the later part of May, we have a crest that will sell off from down to and through support. We'll do a U-shaped reversal below the price level and then come back, break through it, and reuse it as support. Right on the cusp of May, or in the very, very early part of June, more likely another warning not to chase trend there. So it looks like that's tough. It's hard to say, but whatever the trend is going into May, I think it's probably to the downside, but I could be wrong. It's a little difficult. So whatever the trend is right on the cusp, like as we enter into May, I would say you don't want to chase that. If you feel tempted to chase it, that's probably the wrong idea at that point. And we have a crest that'll form on a multi-day scale there in early June. The June high, most likely in the later part of June, significant decline off of it. Also, a pretty big move, like reaching for distant resistance, taking us into the June high, and then a significant move through multiple support levels to the downside out of the June high. The June low is there's an important support level that we failed to break through many times before. That's highlighted near the June low, and usually will decline. Not always, but usually will decline pretty notably from that resistance when we see the cruelty card. Yeah, and it looks like we have a really like a big move to the upside into a high on June, and then a big decline out of it into a trough, probably right at the end of the month. Okay, so that decline continues into early July, and then we do sideways rotation there. It looks like we successfully find support to the downside with sideways rotation. There should be one sharp drop that'll stand out in that period of sideways rotation near the July low, and then the July high forms when out of a decline. We have a big move from the bottom of a range all the way to the top of a range, taking us to a prominent peak, and then sideways rotation along key support in the later part of July. As we exit out of that, there's an important support level on a multi-year scale highlighted in early August. Usually it's support that can be relied upon, but not always, right? We have an important fake out, or probably one of probably the biggest fake out shakeout. It's intentional fake out or shakeout of some kind near the August low, so it's likely going to make it look like we're going lower there. Near the August high, we have a erratic chart behavior, erratic price action back and forth through the same price level. In the midst of that erratic behavior, we revisit a crest that was recently a past opportunity. It actually looks like there's a peak there in maybe the end of the third week of August, and then we revisit that peak on the cusp or in the very, very beginning of September. There's an important technical price level on a multi-year scale highlighted in the later part of August. That's interesting. So two multi-year price levels: support in early August and most likely resistance in later August. Off of that second peak, that revisiting in the early part of September, we should see a notable decline, one of the more notable declines that'll stand out for the year. It'll be off a prominent peak, and decline will take us through multiple support levels into a September low. Most likely we see the September high twice based on the virtue card, so we'll see probably very like first week of September, then probably at the very end of September. That full card in later September is an unexpected move higher, so I would say there's really a significant trade opportunity. I'm probably going to focus on that one next when we finish the week by week. All right, so that big move to the upside in September, probably like a false breakout of some kind, taking us into a prominent peak on a 1 year chart scale there in early October, and we have a little bit of a decline in the early part of October. We break through a key support level, important on a multi-year scale, just temporarily, and then it's like a fake out, and then we should have a fast sudden move higher into a prominent peak. There's a lot of price change into and or out of the October high, and we should rotate sideways near the October high at an important support level, at least on a 1 year chart scale, probably multi-year. We decline from a prominent peak in the later part of October, decline offering opportunity I'll talk about in the total access version, and the October low highlights an important range that when we see the oppression card in like a low significator position, it's usually indicating we meet the bottom end of an important range, but we're bound by the range rather than breaking through. And that could be what this important price level is here in the early part of October. It's most likely the low for October. Usually the oppression card is also multi-year significance. We attempt to establish support in early November. There's also a significant decline, probably one of the biggest declines of the year taking place in early November, taking us into a prominent trough, and we should see some tricky chart behavior near the November low and at that prominent trough. It could be multiple false bottoms. It could be some tricky like back and forth chart behavior. Let's see. Yeah, multiple false bottoms near the November low, and it looks like there's probably a pretty notable move out of it to the upside, because we have this sideways rotation in November ending with a fast sudden move higher. The November high is within close time proximity to a prominent trough on a 1 year chart scale. We rally into the November high, and then we should turn over as well in November or at the very beginning of December. In early December, we have a trough at like the end of the first week, beginning of the second week. There's a near overbought crest that will sell off from through multiple support levels in early December, and an important high of some kind at least on a 1 year chart scale at the December high. Usually with the abundance card, it'll either be like an all-time high if the situation is right for it, or it'll at least be like a new high after making lows, like we're on like a downward trajectory, and then this is like the first new high. So something along those lines. It may very well be a new high, like on a multi-year scale, actually, in this case. Trough in like the beginning or the end of the first week, beginning of the second week of December, a significant reversal. This will stand out at least on a 1 year chart scale and near the December low. The December low is also within close time proximity to prominent peak on a 1 year chart scale. We have another trough at like the end of the third week roughly, with a big move to the upside out of it, taking us into another peak. This rune right here, I feel like, is telling me there's a lower price level in 2026. And when we look at what's going on here on the multi-year reading, we're lined up for a lower price level. But I've been predicting that we should see like at least $10 by the end of 2025 for XRP. I'm pretty sure I predicted that all the way back in 2022. Interesting. Okay, so as far as the best trade that I see, guys, it's important to understand, if you want to trade this information successfully, you really need to have access to our live Discord trade alerts and live updated trading view charts. Those are game-changing services, part of our subscriptions. And for XRP, you would need the monthly access subscription, because we cover it by the day on a monthly basis, not just by the year on a weekly basis. And so those services, they're super effective, and it's not that you couldn't make money without them, but it's not nearly, if you've tried to trade this information before, then you know what I'm talking about. It's not as simple as knowing up and down. It's all about psychology, like how confident are you in tarot telling you the future. So like, until you get comfortable with that stuff, you probably make silly mistakes, and the best way to handle it is just anybody that's serious about trading ASO meta-analysis is going to want to get those services. So I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But if you do insist on trading this information without those services, I'm going to give you the entry and the exit and then the chart behavior leading into the entry point. It's important to understand that if that chart behavior it does not transpire as predicted moving into the entry, that's a red flag signal to avoid this trade, because I'm not right all the time, guys. All right, remember that. Okay, so probably mid-September is where you're going to want to enter into the trade, and most likely you'd exit the trade at the very end of September or maybe the very, very beginning of October. If you miss that opportunity, there's a backup. I like to have backups, so there's a backup exit if you miss that opportunity in November. But if you're new to the channel, rule of thumb trading SO Meta is always go for the first exit. Don't think, oh my God, I'm leaving money on the table. That's the wrong mentality. You will end up losing money. Who cares if you leave money on the table? The point is to make money. Buy low, sell high, right? And then get into another trade. Forget if you left money on the table. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so mid-September is the entry, the chart behavior moving into September. So at the very end of August, we should see, like at the end of the third week of August, the beginning of the fourth week of August, we should see a prominent peak at a key technical price level on a multi-year scale of resistance, and we'll meet that resistance after a fake out near the low and unexpected move to the upside into that peak. Now that peak is going to mark off the price level. We should return to it in the first week of September, roughly the same price level, and that second peak we should decline really notably through multiple support levels into the September low. Not much to give you as far as signal for the September low. We don't always get signals, but basically any price level that's below that science card price level that's marked off by those two peaks, any price level below that is going to end up being profitable if you open up a long position. So what I would do is I would just buy in like increments on the way down. If you think we hit the bottom, buy. If we go lower, then buy a little bit more. If we go lower, buy a little bit more. You know, don't be hasty, but don't wait too long, because that's a huge move out of the low there into back and some. So we'll come back to the price level of the science card and probably break through it, at least temporarily. If you miss that opportunity to exit, we're going to decline around the cusp into that prominent trough again. Remember, probably the same low. Let's see. No, it's not the same low, but with that said, look for an important technical price level, an important range on a multi-year scale in the early part of October. That would signal the bottom of that decline that takes place after opportunity one to exit, and we should have a fast sudden move higher, taking us back into highs, into October highs. That should be at least as high as the exit number one. Now, if you miss that, there's probably one more exit, but I really don't want to wait for these guys because there's a lot of choppy chart behavior in between these exits, and if you're not a seasoned trader, you're very, very likely to get scared out when you're down, and that's like the last thing you want to happen. So the way that you make sure that doesn't happen is recognize ahead of time that type of psychology is at risk, and do defensive living. In other words, make decisions that prevent that possibility from actually happening. Then you don't need to worry about it, right? So you take the earliest exit, congrats to yourself on making money, and then move on to the next one. Don't look back. And that's XRP for 2025, my friends. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. It's super important. Blessings to all my angel investors. Happy holidays to everybody. Much love and appreciation, everybody supporting the channel. And stay tuned. I'm going to show you guys how to get that. I'll show you how to get the monthly access and the total access subscription. So what you want to do is you want to go to our website, Tarot for Traders, which at this point is very, very likely to be stockmarketpsychic.com. because that is our plan to change to that relatively soon. But you go to the website will look the same, maybe the name will be different. You hover over order now, click on subscriptions. Monthly access subscription, it gets you the live Discord trade alerts, live updated trading view charts. It gets you the timing of the highest high and the lowest low to the day for every ticker here. Apple, Amazon, Bitcoin, Gold, Google, Meta, Nvidia. This should be USO, SHIB, Solana, Theta, Tesla, the VIX, and XRP, as well as S&P 500. All that covered on a monthly basis by the day, highs, lows, all of the trades that we expect to see. And then you have the live Discord trade alerts, live updated trading view charts for that as well. This is $300 a month, vastly underpriced, but we want to make sure that it's accessible, as much as possible. We also have to be able to support the channel, my friends. And then Total Access is the premium subscription. This gets you access to all of our content, all of it. These are all 2025 1 years that we've done. There's a substantial number more of them. And you get the timing of the highs, and lows to the week, as well as all the trades that we see for those as well. Discord trade alerts, live updated trading view charts. This one's $500 a month, $5,000 for the year. It's like the premier service. So much love and appreciation to everybody who does that. Much love and appreciation to everybody that intends to do that, and much love and appreciation to everybody anyways. I'll see you guys on the next one. Blessings to all my angel investors. Later.